Welcome to the High Anxiety Podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Ty.
Hi, Lindsey.
We are here to talk about Pokemon.
Specifically, Pokémon Concierge.
Yeah, Pokemon
Yes.
Concierge just started on Netflix,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it's over already. It's a 4-part miniseries, and I think that it is special.
It's so cute.
It's beautiful.
I've seen conflicting reports online that says that it is claymation, but some of it's computer, and I don't know if it's computer made to look like claymation.
Why can't it be both?
I think it's probably both. Yeah.
But like, it's very, if you're a Christmas movie fan, it's very Rankin Bass. The
Yeah.
Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's very stylized
Mhm.
like that, and I think that it's gorgeous. It looks intentionally choppy to kind of match that old time feel.
Yeah, that like Gumby stop motion. Like the characters look felt, except the water Pokemon look plastic, which I like because it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a very accurate texture to what they are.
Right.
One thing I really love is some of the Pokemon have a very different texture than what I had always just kind of thought and imagined in my mind.
Yeah.
Like Dragonair. Dragonair is like fluffy, furry, and I expected Dragonair to be more of like a
Scaly.
dolphin skin.
Oh yeah.
Like
Smooth.
like a smooth skin. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm a smooth brain.
I'm a smooth criminal.
So,
Oh.
Lindsay, kind of describe like the premise of Pokemon Concierge loosely. I know you're like an expert, but
So I actually thought that I'm wondering who their target audience was for this. I think it could go either way because the story of the girl is a little bit more mature, just in that she has a huge falling out with her boyfriend,
Mhm.
and her life is just not going where she was hoping it would go, and she basically just gets away to this island.
she runs away.
Yeah. So like, while I don't think that's like inappropriate for kids, I'm not really sure what they're getting out of that, other than maybe like run away from your problems. I'm not sure.
It felt like it was aimed at the people who grew up with Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So I guess I shouldn't say I don't know who it was geared towards, because my theory would be it's towards us. It's towards
Yeah.
14-year-old me who was just enamored with this world of pocket
But if
monsters.
someone who has kids, like the kids really liked it.
Well, the kids loved it.
And
They
I don't know
loved
if it's just the Pokemon style and they just know it's Pokemon World, so they're into it. But like even through the parts where it is about her troubled background, they're interested in it.
The Pokemon Company is really good about creating things that interest all the demographics of Pokemon fans. Detective Pikachu, for example,
Oh my gosh.
had very mature subject matter, but kids loved it just as much as the adults did.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And that was so magical. Like that's probably still the most magical Pokemon world that has so far been imagined on screen. Like I still to this day, I mean it didn't release that long ago, but
Yeah.
I want to go there. I want to be there. I want to live there. But
yeah.
I would say second favorite would be Concierge.
I completely agree.
Why haven't they explored more of that movie? Like they haven't even announced like, hey, we're doing a different Pokemon movie, or even Pikachu too.
They could do an entire series of movies in just the Detective Pikachu world, unrelated to each other, and I would watch every single one of them.
I would watch a world where people just exist and don't react to the Pokemon. Like
Yeah.
it's just a regular thing. That
Like they do in Pokemon.
blows my mind. Yeah, it just blows my mind. But it's real. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
but it felt like that's what they captured with Detective Pikachu.
Yes.
And they could remake Ash's entire journey in the real life, like Detective Pikachu type thing. I'd watch that. I'd watch anything from that.
They
it-
really could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Concierge absolutely as well.
Yeah, with Concierge, the reason that we wanted to have this podcast today is because we're talking about our love in Pokemon in general, and then also how could this kind of world be applied to a video game. So we have a few topics we want to talk about today, but I do want to kind of start with like your background with Pokemon and how you got into it. Because Pokemon has been around for a majority of our lives. Like half our lives? Is it
More
than half?
than half.
More than half.
And that's like when I think of turtles, like yeah, I grew up in turtles, but like Pokemon, it feels like I was in high school when I saw it or something. So it just feels not as it's been around forever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was 14.
Like when I think of Monster Rancher, when that was on the same channel as Pokemon, I'm like, yeah, that was from my childhood, but like that was after Pokemon too, right?
Yeah.
So that's the weird in my brain. Just I think it's because Pokemon, like it's still on, and they just ended Ash's journey. Period.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it felt like it's still just something that's like I don't know.
So
But yeah,
where it came from for us.
Yeah. So Lindsey, when did you Pikachu and Pokemon and Bulbasaur?
I think it was in like probably 8th grade. I don't know. I was 14, aging myself, but yeah, it was really sort of becoming big on the scene. And ironically, there was someone I was dating who got me super into it, and he was like in high school. So just to see like I'm younger, but like this whole older age group is into these cards too. It was mainly the cards. The cards were huge, but obviously so was the show, and the poker app and stuff. And as an artist, I was always trying to draw all the Pokemon, which they are deceptively difficult to draw. I don't know, just an add-in. But yeah, I played the crap out of the card game. I was actually pretty good. The Toys R Us by us. Rest in peace.
Pokemon League.
And I still have pages and activities that I did. I have all of my badges. And I had a killer grass deck that could defeat anything that wasn't fire. I was so good at flipping heads, and I had my Beedrills were poisoning the crap out of you. My Nidokings were, oh my God, so good. So good. Let's show it off someday. But yeah, that for me was the big thing. And I liked the holo cards. Like the cards weren't where they're at right now. People genuinely wanted them to play.
Yeah.
I feel like back then. Whereas now it's like somebody gets a Bulbasaur, a foil Bulbasaur. First of all, there's like 6 other foil Bulbasaurs, and they're just concerned about how much it's worth. How rare it is. Like our kids.
Yeah, they don't play it. They just collect it.
Play it.
That's the YouTube culture too.
It's insane. And I love, what is his name? Deep Pocket Monster. I love him. I can't help it. He's such a good-hearted Pokemon collector.
He watches them all the time.
It's all the people just unpacking decks all day online.
It is. It's exciting though. I've tried to get back into it, but like I can't do it from that perspective because I open a pack and I don't get anything cool. It's just like so
buy money.
What's your history with Pokemon Tie?
So for me, it started with seeing the anime. So I was 15 when Pokemon premiered. I remember, yeah, because it premiered in 1998.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it carries like this.
Aren't you more than a year older than me?
It's like a year and a half.
Okay, so that makes sense.
But you're 2 years older.
Yeah, I'm 2 years older.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
So yeah, Pokemon premiered when I was 15, and I remember the show coming on Kids WB. It was playing early in the morning, and I was so invested that like on the weekends when we would go to my grandpa's, I had to be like, if we were at home, I could catch it in the morning and I was good. But at like my grandparents, when you're visiting family, you never know if you're going to have time. And the episode that I remember being the most like floored over was Togepi hatching. And Misty getting in the way and stealing Togepi's affection. And though Ash was the one who carried that egg the whole time, he did all the work, and she got all the credit for it. But I remember being at my grandpa's and just they're like, okay, hold on, we'll go. Just give me just a second. I just have to see this. And Togepi hatched and popped out and all that. And the episode ends, and I'm like, okay, we can go now. But yeah,
I have a whole episode based on crap that we were slighted on in that series. Don't get me started on Brock's departure.
So
it was harder than Bye Bye Butterfree for me.
So yeah, so the show was absolutely something, but the game, I bought Pokemon Red. I sold a bunch of my stuff. I went to Funko Land in the crossing over there, and I bought Pokemon Red for the original Game Boy. I didn't have a Game Boy Color at the time, and I played that game front to back like twice. And I remember my buddy Mike and I started trading Pokemon, and we went nuts from there. And then I started going to Pokemon League at Toys R Us.
Barb.
I don't have my badges anymore because a lot of that was lost in the fire. But yeah, I remember going to Pokemon League and playing that there. And that's where I met Dan. It was at Pokemon League because I walked up. He had a Sailor Moon sticker on his Pokemon card binder. And I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. And we've been buds since. And he's like, yeah, there's this really cool chick named Lindsey's really into Pokemon too. And I'm like, oh, cool. We'll have to hang out. And here we are all these years later. That's funny. But played Pokemon there. I never had my own deck. I never had my own cards. My friend Frank let me use his cards because I didn't get into the card game as much. I only got into Pokemon League for those badges. That's all I wanted out of there were those badges.
They were sick. They still are.
I had them on the inside of my coat, so I could do that move.
I remember that.
And it was just, God, it was so badass to have those things. And then playing the game, and I just kept going from there.
Your story is so funny because I'm kind of my opposite of you, but it's different because as into video games as I have been like my whole life. I never owned a Nintendo system with a Pokemon game on it until the DS.
Mm-hmm.
It was the DS, the 3DS was when the first Pokemon game came out, right? It wasn't on the regular DS, was it? It's on the regular? Ugh, that goes back a long way. But yeah, that was my first experience with an actual video game. I loved it.
Was it Diamond or Pearl or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I remember how crazy that was because there was a microphone for the DS that you could plug in that you could get for Diamond or Pearl. And I remember my friends and I talking to each other. It had voice over internet on the DS version. And it was so crazy. Because they had the secret.
It was. I never had it. I never had a handheld Nintendo, and I didn't have Nintendo 64. So I'd never, ever played before. I was satisfied by the card game and the cartoon. I think the movie had come out. Yeah, the movie. There's at least one movie out by then, right?
Oh yeah, I had the card game on the Game Boy.
Oh yeah.
So that's the most of the card game I played was the Game Boy version.
It's called like Pokemon TGC?
Yeah, it's Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah.
Which is on the Nintendo online now too, so you can play it on there.
Oh yeah, we should do that. We should,
and it's got the online functionality built in.
Is it really?
Yeah, so we can connect and battle.
Oh, cool. Okay, let's figure that out.
We do need to do that.
Y'all are in big trouble.
I don't even know what to do with it.
All right, Brandon, what's your history with Pokemon?
Okay, so like anything about me, I usually hate it at first and a big jerk about it. And,
this is stupid. I hate it.
So it was discovered. I don't know how old I was, but it was the point where like everyone was obsessed with it. So also me, if everyone's obsessed with it, I started hating it. So I would just draw lots of like Pikachu's getting killed by Sub-Zero and Scorpion and things like that.
Oh god.
And I would put them in, like, when I would draw like Smash Brothers drawings, I would make sure like Mario was like just beating Pikachu up and blood everywhere. And then so that's going into the 64 era, by the way. And after I started embracing that and really like understanding that it's okay for me to like this, and it's not going to be one more thing that makes me get beat up every day. I tried the Game Boy version, so I played Yellow first. Yellow was my first version of it, and
That checks out.
I picked that because of like just who I like. Does it surprise you? Like I latch on the main character, and I want to make sure I have that main character. So like I was like, I have to have Pikachu because he's in the show. And
I wanted a Pikachu. Like I had to catch a Pikachu. But yeah, being able to walk around with your Pikachu made Yellow so insanely cool.
Now I had the walk thing, like the little like
the pocket Pikachu.
Yeah, I had that. My best friend at the time gave it to me. She let me have hers, and I just loved it.
What, did that go to a game, or was it just a side thing? You fed it and stuff as like a Tamagotchi.
It was like a mix between a Tamagotchi and a pedometer.
Because the Walker for the D.
Oh, was yours shaped like a Pokeball, Lindsay?
No, it's the yellow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's pocket Pikachu.
Yeah.
That was a standalone thing, right?
It was the standalone thing, as far as I know. Yeah.
And then the Walker, you would wear that, and it would sync to your.
Yes, and it had a little screen on it. You could catch Pokemon with it, and
You'll have to include the picture of me with all my Pokemon stuff in the background. I'm pretty sure my pocket Pikachu is like on display in the background.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, we should do that. But yeah, so
Pokewalkers are insanely expensive now too.
Ooh, I have it.
Yeah, we have
I would have never. Wait, Pokewalkers
so
balls?
It's no.
Yeah, this is the one they released for Heart Gold, Soul Silver on the DS.
Yeah, their batteries are dead.
I forgot all about that one.
But yeah, so then I started. I think Pokemon Snap is really what made me be like, this is okay. I can do this. I like this, and so it's kind of a weird like Pokemon Snap is my entry of the liking of it. But then, yeah, I went to Yellow, and then I played every single one.
So you played Snap first before Yellow? Okay.
And my love for the Pokemon game plateaued at Black and White 2. It's the last one I really liked.
Remember, we all got it the same day, and we opened our copies. We were at Brian's house, because remember, we all went to Brian's for a Pokemon party, and that was Black and White 2. And all three of us, I swear, at the same time went, this felt very redundant.
Yes!
We all three, because we were all so excited, we all fired up, and we're like, didn't we just play this game?
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the end of it. And we bought...
No. The one that really pissed you off was the Sun and Moon.
Yeah, is that Switch or that's DS?
That was
that was still no. Sun and Moon was still 3DS.
Was it 3DS? Yeah.
I didn't play
the Alola Pokemon.
Yeah.
So you bought it and you played it for like 5 minutes and never touched it again.
and then I bought the Switch version because it looked cool. And then what was?
The Switch was Sword and Shield.
Pokemon Go.
Oh, Let's Go Pikachu.
Let's Go Pikachu.
Loved it.
Loved it.
And I kind of liked it, but it didn't feel different enough for me. So
How did it not feel different enough? You were literally walking through a world and could see the Pokemon.
I thought
it was incredible.
I thought that's where Pokemon games were going, and I got so excited because I was like, if this is what it's going to be, and then they came out with Sword and Shield, and I'm like, nope, I'm done.
I skipped. Sword and Shield's the first generation. Yeah. I said I'm not doing it anymore, and I would like to see it return to. I don't know. I'm watching Lindsey play. What is the new one?
Violet.
Yeah.
Play Violet.
I love it.
And there's some cool things in it that seem really different, and I like it. But hold on, I did play the legendary Pokemon too, Pokemon
Arceus.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I did
love it.
Love that one, and I did like that.
I loved you just threw the ball.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was neat. And the open world.
Oh, completely open world.
I can never go back from an open world ever again.
after playing that, I can't go back to traditional Pokemon games. I've been spoiled by seeing choosing what Pokemon I'm going to throw out beforehand. Like, all of that. That was amazing. And the other thing is there was no Arceus Blue, Arceus Red. There was one version of the game. And I was like, this is where it's going to be. And then immediately we go to Violet and Scarlet, and we're back to 2 versions. And I just got bummed out again. I'm like, I just want one Pokemon game.
So, yeah, because I don't like having to choose. And especially with Violet and Scarlet, I didn't want to have to choose between, like, the hot guy or the hot girl. Why did I have to choose? Why would you do that to somebody? You know? So I eventually just picked the color I liked more.
Yeah.
At the time. So that was Violet, and I'm not bummed about it. I can finish that game like today if I wanted to, but I am just having so much fun in the open world, catching them all, like discovering different, like right now I've been catching all the Terra Pokemon. So I'm going back and I'm catching all the level 70 and 75 like Terras. Yeah. So I just got
you're upset when you only get like 50s. She was like, there's only level 50 Pokemon to fight, and I'm like, isn't that pretty high? And then I realized it's a lot higher.
I can one shot them.
Yeah.
So I got Lucario. I just got that guy, and I got I can't remember its name. So the thing about Pokemon is, like, after the initial 151,
yeah,
I don't consistently know any of those guys.
I think all 3 of us can recall the Poker app perfectly, but yeah.
Gotta catch them all.
But yeah, past that 151, it becomes so hard to keep up with it all.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the topic of games right now. So let's talk about like what we want to see in a future game. Like, obviously we kind of touched on the main line, so I would like to talk about the main line first, but then I kind of want to dive into like the concierge world that we have seen on the show, or and like kind of just where would a game go from there. So first off, let's talk about the can I tell you what brings me back to Pokemon, I think?
Please, we are dying to.
Because I really love it, and like I'm jealous watching Jude and Lindsey play that. I'm like, I want to play it. I want to find time to do it. But and this is gonna sound like kind of like the Switch is definitely at its like peak. Like, we need to be moving on. And
we're ready for Switch 2.
And I would like to see a game that doesn't look like it was designed for the previous generation as a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like I need 4K, 8K visual melting graphics, but like,
that's not Pokemon.
The pop-up is still a lot. Like, we still are having some pop-up, and that takes me out of it.
What's pop-up?
When your character communication, all of a sudden it just appears.
Yeah, the draw distance issues with the
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
It still does kind of look like it was made for like a high-end 3DS to me. Like, it looks like if you could upgrade the visuals a little bit, it doesn't look like it is made for that kind of version. Like, if you look at the remakes of Final Fantasies and how they've upgraded the style, and it just kind of looks like, again, I'm not looking for like photorealistic, but it would be nice to have just higher resolution character models, and that's like the nitpicky part that I'm saying. Like, I don't need that. But I think what would be a big improvement would be just kind of an emphasis on like maybe separating these areas have this sets of Pokemon like 151 to 151, and like right now they're all integrated and it's too much, and it's like I immediately, my anxiety kicks in, like, I'm not going to catch all these Pokemon. There's not even all of them in the game, and
that's how it would be in the real world. This isn't Jurassic Park, dude.
Then why was it different in Kanto than in Johto?
Because it was simpler back then.
But there were also still mixes.
So that's kind of like what I'm
find a Pikachu.
And also like I don't know. I wish that there was and it could be in there. I just don't know because I haven't played it. But when you go to your Pokedex, like, I kind of want to know like where like the original Pokedexes would lie. Like, this is 150 to or 1 to 1. Like, I don't know. Like,
I think you can actually no. You can organize it in like
by region.
Order. Can you do it by region?
I think so.
I know it let me do it by numerical order, but it like Pokemon Go'd it, where like there's like a random original 151 like way toward the back. It just doesn't really make sense to me. But you do get a lot of information on the Pokemon that you catch. Like I do think it's the best Pokedex so far.
They've definitely been fleshing the world out more and more. I like that outside of Arceus, the mainline Pokemon games are still all the same world. So they just keep expanding the continents. They're like, oh, here's a new region, here's a new region, here's a new region. And it makes sense that this region's not going to have the exact same, all the same Pokemon as this other region. Like Lindsey said, it's more realistic in that way. But on to the point of things that we would want to see, I was really disappointed by just how many bugs were in Scarlet and Violet.
Like Pokemon or technical?
The game-breaking bugs. Like, not breaking, but like really bad visual bugs. I've watched people get stuck in caves. I've seen people almost fall through the floor in some instances, clip into walls. There's that type of stuff, just really, really bad bugs that they released the game with. It felt like they released the game incomplete. Like Brandon was saying, the pop-up thing was even bad in Arceus, where you would just be walking and 40 Pokemon would populate in front of you way too close. Like, I want more draw distance. As for the graphics thing, honestly, I'm fine if graphics stay where they're at with Pokemon because it's such a stylized world, it doesn't bother me. I just want the games to work well. I want to see the Pokemon from farther away, that sort of thing. If the gameplay and everything just stayed the way it is in Arceus, I'd be fine. I feel like that's a natural evolution of the Pokemon gameplay that felt so close to the series. Because Ash, at times, didn't have to fight a Pokemon. If the Pokemon was just confused or something, he could throw a Pokeball and catch it without having to really do anything. And it just makes sense. It would make sense you can befriend a Pokemon and get it to,
like you could throw food out to it.
Throw food out to it and then eventually catch it, that sort of thing. Like, I love that.
You can kind of do that.
Yeah, like
because you can do that to draw certain Pokemon out.
Exactly, just build on that.
It's kind of there. I don't know. I love Pokemon. It is beloved to me, and so I don't know how to say this without it sounding mean. But maybe my expectations just are set at a certain spot for it, to where the graphics and stuff just doesn't bother me. Like I have a lot of people that complain about voice acting. Like, I think that would completely stress me out if every conversation I had, somebody had a voice that was talking to me.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't know. I get it, though.
I do. I understand, but for me personally, I think I would just toggle it, or I would just turn the volume down and choose the read option. But what I would want to see, if game changed, it would be a lot. Like, so the way they've been doing it is technology exists, but they're also kind of in a world that doesn't feel like it's compatible with the technology that they're showing, like the Pokédexes and the rotophone and stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Pokemon come out that is set in like modern times, like big crazy cities and stuff. I don't know. I would like to see more of the Detective Pikachu kind of treatment to a Pokemon.
Yeah, like a day and night cycle, maybe but even
have day and night.
I kind of felt that's the way Black and White was. That you were in a big city and.
Yeah, I think when
that's true.
When I'm thinking of the overworlds and just the maps of Pokemon, like I feel like it's like the 1800s. Like I don't feel like it's modern, and I don't know why that is. Like I know the Pokédex
because of how small and sparse everything is.
No, but like even Arceus is set in the past, right?
Yeah, that's set in a feudal era.
Yeah, like I think it's just kind of like a visual style that I'm thinking of. Is that what you're thinking of? Just like it looks more like lived in and modern and like.
Yeah, I think Bayonetta does it nicely, nicer than like more toward what I'm getting at without being exact. Where there's like these worlds that definitely look untouched. She's going back and forth between the worlds. But there's definitely developed cities, and it's in current times. But then also you're scaling it crazy mountain with weird like glyphs and stuff on it. I don't know. Like I can't propose how that would exactly be done. Maybe it would have to be a completely different game. But like I just love catching them all. Like I don't have to have the to defeat all of the leaders and stuff, like the trainers. I don't necessarily have to have that. I don't mind it. I love what they did in this current game, Scarlet and Violet, where it's not just a redundant like dungeon style thing that you have to go through to get to the boss.
Right.
I kind of like the silly little challenges. I think they could be a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Like they're not difficult at all.
Playing off what you
more of a puzzle.
Yeah. Oh, like almost like a Legend of Zelda type thing where there were more puzzles that you needed Pokemon to solve them or something.
Yeah, maybe.
That could be cool.
Something with a little bit of challenge, because like they solved the redundancy of like the dungeon style, but then it's like there was like a DDR style thing or Guitar Hero where you just had to hit A, B, Y, and I kept thinking, oh my god, this is going to get faster. This is going to get harder. It didn't.
Well, yeah, and I think it's the whole trying to be accessible to kids, but maybe if there was a difficulty thing you could set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're putting down.
Yeah.
The idea, you've both heard of the Nuzlocke challenges, where like your Pokemon gets knocked out and you can't use the Pokemon again, and you move on and.
Oh, in a puzzle or like in a battle?
No, it's a self-proposed challenge that people do online, where people will play a Pokemon game, and a Nuzlocke challenge is if your Pokemon gets knocked out, you have to free that Pokemon. You can't use that Pokemon again.
So it's like permadeath, basically.
Permadeath for your Pokemon. So people self-impose these challenges on themselves to make the game harder. And I would love to see. Well, in this instance, they free the Pokemon.
You failed me. Goodbye.
I did that. Remember?
What? Oh,
it was at the end of. Did it end up Pearl and Diamond or Black and White?
It was one of the ones with the legendary.
Yeah, I killed.
Oh,
At the end, when you're battling with Pokemon, I actually knocked it out, and Brandon was so upset with me.
I didn't know. I was like, is it going to restart it, or like you just not get it?
You just don't get it.
But I definitely killed it.
I would love Pokemon games to have a mode built in for difficulty challenges like that. Other things I would. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Other things I would love to see implemented are maybe a randomizer. So it mixes up what Pokemon are in what areas. So you could be walking through the grass and suddenly run into Arceus or something, like a legendary Pokemon there in the grass at the starting area. Like that randomness to it, I think could be fun. These are like different ideas of different modes you could do.
Also, like levels too. Like, is it currently like? Can you wander in an area that you're not ready for in this yet? Oh, you can't. Okay.
It's a completely open world, and it's almost to the game's discredit, because until I got like my Miradon, am I saying that right? Until I got my Violet Pokemon, till I got it to a certain like level, certain ability. I would get lost constantly in the worlds. There's nothing really intuitive about it. And also, there's no instruction of where you're supposed to go next in the game.
That's what...
There's not. I used a guide. I used a guide to just to tell me where I was supposed to go next.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I would have floundered around forever.
The early Pokemon games handled that pretty well.
They did. It was like a path. You couldn't go.
Yeah, they would literally say like, "Oh, you can't go this way right now. You need to come back this way." But the downfall of that, the downfall. There's a bush. You can't cut that bush. The downfall is you lost that feeling of an open world. Excuse me. It wasn't an open world. You couldn't just go anywhere. So it makes sense. I don't know how you truly strike a balance, but the only thing I could think of is that maybe keep the world open. You have the choice to go anywhere. However, have an item like, I don't know, a GPS that just says, quest-wise, you need to go this way. This is the path you need to take. Like
It's
it,
new technology.
right? But it also makes sense. It's a lived-in world. People know where to go. Obviously, caves could be a little different, but just out in the valleys and stuff like that, it would make sense. There's something to say. Head off in this direction. Turn here, like a Pokemon TomTom. You know?
Yeah, there's not enough of that. Now, if you know where you're supposed to go, you can mark that area on a map and
Right.
tell you. But it gets really frustrating because once again, if your companion Pokemon doesn't have the right ability, you'll get to a dead end on a mountain and it's like, I just wasted an hour getting over here and I can't do anything.
What? Brent, did you say yours yet?
My what I would need to bring back? Or what I want to
Yeah, you did. You did say yours. Yeah. Okay. What were your favorite gimmicks that they got rid of? For me,
So
it was Mega Evolutions. I thought those.
Get big.
No.
That's the Giganta something.
Yeah,
That's
Mega
fantastic.
Evolutions were a further evolution that they would step back from. It was almost Digimon-esque.
Oh, and it was like a finishing move too. Like it.
Yeah,
And then yeah.
and the fact that I liked the Z moves thing. I liked that bracelet with and you had the different crystals on it, and it was like you would do this. And I remember I had a God, I had a Munchlax.
making me need to clear my throat.
Everybody.
I had a Munchlax that I would use this crystal, this Z-move crystal, and the Munchlax would gain super speed and take off running and bowl through whatever he was like. I thought that was pretty cool. It was very visually interesting. But those two gimmicks are the ones I think I missed the most.
I never took advantage
Of gimmicks.
of the Z-band
Oh.
stuff. I didn't.
Yeah.
Gimmicks. Let's see. Man, I don't know. Like, I'm more of the kind of person that just levels up my Pokemon the original way, and they're just powerful on their own, and they just go through. Like, I get rid of any moves that don't do damage. I am literally just a damage moves kind of gal. I'm trying to think that I missed that they didn't do. I don't mind the whole Terra Pokemon thing. I know a lot of people got upset about the Gigantamax, but personally, I was always excited to see what a Pokemon was going to look like.
Yeah.
The Gigantamax. It was a way of seeing a new. And I remember,
Tyler got bigger.
yes, I remember my first thought was, my God, wait a little. Oh my God. And I was thinking, it's insane.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I missed that, but I did like it. I did, I did
Yeah.
think it was neat to see. The downfall with Sword and Shield for me were just the two main characters. Was it Leon?
I don't even remember.
And, and Kip, whatever his name was. I don't even care. They were very annoying. And I would say the thing that annoys me most about the games is your main opponent never shuts up. They talk too much, and they always get in your way and want to battle.
Mhm.
And they'll throw out a sand shrew when you're level 60, and it's like, bruh, there's no way that you made it to the Pokemon League with that thing.
They needed better scaling. Like your rivals and stuff should scale with you. But Brandon, what was your favorite gimmick they got rid of, or something you'd want?
Mine's gonna kind of lead into where I want to move our conversation next, because I think part of the one of the really fun things, how there's in-game distractions, like the casino in one of the games.
I loved the casino.
That
Loved
was fun. And this is gonna sound really lame, but the beauty contest thing when you decorate your Pokemon thing.
Feed it the right berries and
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's cute.
I want to come back to that really quick because I want to talk about the Mega Evolution. I want to talk about that really quick because I love that and I love to see what it looked like, but at some point it kind of felt like you're watching Pokemon or Power Rangers, and you're like, okay, so I know it's gonna end with the Megazord, so it's just it just kind of seemed like
you throw it out as the finishing move. Yeah.
you have to do it at some point because you don't see it enough, and it just kind of felt predictable, and it kind of wore on me. So it'd be cool to bring it back, but have it be meaningful. Maybe you
like, isn't there something in the game right now where you no, that's Mario RPG, where you're like collecting experience points in the little window, say 100%, you get that extra finish team move thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be kind of cool if, like, over battles that unlocked that experience, and it wasn't like an option every single time to just
something you earn up over time.
Yeah, like I went to like a Smash Ball, like
Yeah.
Smash
That's fantastic, because it could be treated like the TMs used to be treated, like Rock Smash and Razor Leaf or whatever, like to get through the bushes and the rocks in the way.
And
it could be something like that, but larger scale. Like you could knock a mountain down or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be.
And you could even implement like Ocarina of Time elements. Like you can go to that place, but you can't do anything until you get that lantern. Or it's kind of like you could incorporate that. But like I said, one of the gimmicks that I miss is that fashion show thing. I think it was cool. Like you can decorate your Pokemon.
I forgot about that.
And it makes me want to move into like there are so many different Pokemon games and types available. Like there is the mainline entry for like the hardcore, like I just love Pokemon and want to just play the main games. But there's spin-offs like
what's your guys' favorite non-main game? Favorite non-main game? I'm gonna start Troze.
She played that game like crazy, and they made the app one wasn't the same.
Nope.
They made it
I love the shit out of that game. It's so fun. I love a good puzzle game, but I got into it because it was Pokemon, and you were collecting the Pokemon. It was so cool.
What was that? It was either Super Nintendo or N64, but it was a Pokemon Tetris like game.
Pokemon 3D Puzzle League.
Yes. That game was that game was stupid fun.
Not Troze.
Troze was really good too, but I didn't play it enough to say it was my favorite. Spinoff.
So Tim and I would play it, and I actually beat him like once. It was kind of a big deal.
I would say my favorite spinoffs are the Mystery Dungeon games.
Those.
Did those age well? Do you think?
I think so. They're still stupid fun, and then you got the remake.
That was on 3D. That was on 3D.
They were on They were on Game Boy Advance and DS, 3DS, and then the remake was on the Switch.
Oh, it was on Switch.
Yeah, they remade the first one for the Switch.
And it's probably still full price, right? Because it's Nintendo.
Probably.
So my favorite spinoff is the first Pokemon Snap. I really like the newer one. Like it was cool to see the visuals and updated, but like it didn't feel the same. Obviously, like it feels like a time capsule. It's like a game. It's kind of like GoldenEye. Like how I can't really go back and play GoldenEye. But like I have nothing but great memories, and Pokemon Snap is the same way. Like
I see that.
So I don't know if I could still play it to this day. If it'd be the same. But it definitely, because I mean the Switch one feels just like it, but it just didn't have the same magic.
Yeah, Snap is definitely a second favorite, but I've only played the Switch one, and I love it.
I never had a 64 as a kid, so I never played like Coliseum and all that.
But yeah, that was me. Another thing is I was going to say Pokemon Coliseum, because those games were like...
Wasn't it Stadium?
Well Coliseum, sorry. Now the GameCube spinoff ones are two of the best Pokemon games that no one ever... Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Coliseum, those games are stupid fun. And they have really great stories. If they just remade those and just brought them to modern Pokemon world, that'd be insane.
Yeah, but there's not really a reason to have like Pokemon Stadium now, because the visual, like it was mostly the visuals that you were...
you were seeing 3D versions of the Pokemon. They weren't just sprites anymore.
Yeah, but it was still turn-based. It was like, but there was no trainer visible.
Yeah.
But it just had animations. Like Blastoise would like get all worked up and then blast cannon.
And there was an adapter to connect your Game Boy games to the 64, so you could transfer
your actual Pokemon in it. But then I think that was kind of like infinite money mode, where you could just load. Like I think in the game, like if you just played the stock characters, they were like beefed up, and it didn't feel fair either. But it was really cool.
Yeah, I've gone back and played it since, and it just didn't really do anything for me. But I think if I had grown up with it, I would feel different.
Yeah, because right now, like the games are doing what Pokemon Stadium did, basically. Like it's their animation.
The moment they went 3D, there was no reason for it anymore.
Yeah. So where do Pokemon spin-off games go? Is the session that we're here now, and Pokemon Concierge is a really big. It's the whole reason that we started this podcast episode was because we started talking about a different kind of game, like a relaxing Animal Crossing style game in the Pokemon world. And it doesn't have to be necessarily like you go into a town and you make friends in villages, but like the Pokemon Concierge, if that was a game and you're there to take care of Pokemon, and different Pokemon would come in and just need different grooming and different accommodations, like, oh, their hotel room needs to be this. So you could do Happy Home Designer. You could do, like, there's so many things you could just take from Animal Crossing code and put it into one game as a Pokemon game.
And that's exactly it.
Home Designer has a lot of potential to expand, and I think it would just be perfect. It kind of has the Sims vibe almost, like a Sims.
You could repackage Happy Home Designer as a Pokemon thing so easily, like yours did. But Pokemon Concierge, and like you're saying, literally, Pokemon Concierge is, as if it was a game, would be the Animal Crossing of Pokemon games. You would, have this hotel you fix up, and that's where you put your furniture, and the instead of having townspeople, like, you're having guests and you're making friends with the guests, and there's all these things. You get have people come over to your hotel, and
you get guest ratings.
Yes, the better you build up your hotel, and then you fill it up with mini games. Like there's Pokemon games in the pool, Pokemon games in these areas, just based on different events that would happen at the hotel. It just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I would be honestly shocked if a game didn't come from this. Well,
yeah.
As long as we're going to get more to the series, I think if it just stops at this 4-parter, it might just fizzle out.
Yeah.
But I hope it doesn't.
No, I hope it keeps going.
People are mixed about it. I'm not sure how it went over. I mean, it released at the busiest time of the year.
Yeah. For me, outside of Pokemon Concierge and a Pokemon Animal Crossing-like game, which I would love, what I want in future Pokemon games, where Pokemon's going that I would love the most, is there are so many interesting jobs in the world of Pokemon. Pokemon Rangers, Pokemon Breeders, Pokemon Professors. I would love games from those characters' point of view. Maybe a Pokemon game for the point of view of even a Team Rocket. I would love a Team Rocket-like Pokemon game.
It's a tentacruel world.
Or what an Officer Jenny, a Nurse Joy.
That would be so cool. Oh my gosh, Pokemon Hospital.
Pokemon Hospital, like, and it would essentially
Mama style and
yes, cooking. Right, you're fixing the Pokemon up. You're making them food. You're making them feel better. There's all these ways you could integrate those things and have some really good stories. Like there was a Pokemon Ranger game, wasn't there?
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, I would love. We always hear about all this hard work Pokemon professors always do, but they're always sending kids out to do their job. Like, what did Professor Oak do beforehand? I want to know Professor Oak's journey, or any of these other professors' journeys. Like, a Pokemon game, and like you were mentioning before, having a Pokemon game that's always, I'm going to be the very best. I want a Pokemon game where it's just people living their life and doing their job with their Pokemon.
Yeah, it would be great if you woke up. It would be set up the same way, but like you woke up in the morning, but like you chose what job you wanted to go out into the world and do.
Right. Instead of, I'm not going to be a Pokemon trainer, I'm going to be a Pokemon professor.
Yeah, there could be a whole game around dressing up the Pokemon and giving them makeovers and stuff. I mean, there's a whole...
That could be a whole subsection of Pokemon Concierge. There could be a beauty thing there.
Yes. I mean, look at all the iPad and iPhone games out there that are literally just giving people makeovers. There's 1.5 million of them.
There was a ton of DS Wii shovelware that was Wii fashion, DS fashion, or those dogs games or the pets games.
Oh, Nintendogs was my jam.
Do that, but for Pokemon as minigames.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're kind of just looking for like an escape to like it just relaxing right now. We're just looking for like another Animal Crossing relax or escape from the world.
I want another epic adventure that's not just I'm going to fight through the league. That's why I liked the Pokemon GameCube games so much, is there was this big story around them. Gale of Darkness, you could literally steal people's Pokemon because they were infected with the shadow thing. So you could take their Pokemon and then you could go cure them. An epic adventure that's not just from the point of view of the silent protagonist who's out there trying to take on the Pokemon League. That's what I want. And a relaxing Animal Crossing like Pokemon game.
I could take all of that out. I would just love a giant world, giant free world game where your job is just, you're just literally catching them all.
Yeah. What
Seriously.
What if as a Pokemon breeder, there could be a game where you're a Pokemon breeder and your whole thing is you're going out there and catching them and you're breeding them to min-max them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And there could be jobs where people come to you and go, I really need a Snorlax that's got really high speed, like a completely random thing like that. And you have to breed them till you get to that point. Almost like Chocobo racing in Final Fantasy VII.
I went straight to Chocobo. The Chocobo breeding was no joke. To get that gold Chocobo.
Right. Oh, do that, but for Pokemon. And the other thing is, I did forget to mention this earlier, probably one of my favorite innovations was the Alolan thing. Having the same Pokemon look completely different. I want more and more regions of different looking versions of Pokemon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that Ice Sandshrew, peak.
Dude, the Ice Vulpix as well.
Yes. So yeah, that was another thing I want to see keep going.
Make me want to play that.
Zigzagoon went from being like boring to like kind of a badass.
Right. I want to see a super like crazy powerful Bidoof. Like a Pokemon no one would expect.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts about Pokemon and the current state that we are in right now and what we'd like to see before we wrap up?
Just learn from your mistakes, man. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I mean I just want them to continue to I want them to start pushing boundaries again.
Yeah.
For a while there they really were. And I think they're comfortable now, which they're allowed to be comfortable because most people are like me, where they play and it doesn't matter. Like, I'll always buy a Pokemon game and I'll always like it. I may not fiercely defend it, but I'll roll my eyes at the people who just complain about it all the time because it's like, you bought it too.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I would like to see more different things. I really would, but I can't tell you that I'm ever going to boycott it if they don't.
More Arceus, please. That's it. Just more Arceus Legends.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
To make Pokeballs. It's crazy.
That was so cool. Crafting. I want more crafting. Sorry.
No, that's cool too. All right. So this is our first podcast. Tell us what you think in the comments. I don't know how we're going to upload this to an audio service, but however you subscribe to audio services,
maybe we'll be there.
Let us know what you want us to talk about next.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring it. Put in the comments what you want to talk about. Yeah. We can. We'll form our next episode. So, but I'm Brandon.
I'm Ty.
Have a great, wonderful end of this podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, we did it.